What's up, everybody? Coach Nick here. Today, I wanted to make a case for why you should move your spine daily. One of the theories that I use in my movement practice with my clients and patients is the spinal engine theory, is that the spine drives all movement. And I've made some posts about that, and I'll make a video here in the future. But the spine movement stems from the spine. So I think of like inside out. When the spine moves, our limbs move. So if you rotate your chest to the left right now, your right arm's going to come forward, right? You can bring your right arm forward without moving your chest, but if you were to walk, you'd have to rotate the upper part of your chest to the left to bring your right arm forward and your left leg forward, okay? So when people come into the clinic, what we see is I always look at breathing and then the spine first. There's been agreed upon ranges of motion in the medical field for all of our joints. All of our joints have ranges of motion, just about all of them. There's some fixed joints that don't move. So for those of you be like, oh, that joint doesn't move. We got it. But we need to move in order to maintain those ranges, right? It's kind of like a use it or lose it thing. If your body adapts to the positions it's in the most. So, if you're sitting all day with a hunched back, you can see how that may stress the spine in different areas. If the spine upper back is pulled to one direction, you can see how that may cause some issues. So by just moving your spine daily through its full ranges of motion is going to be super advantageous to getting you moving and feeling better. So remember, the spine moves four ways, right? We have flexion, we have extension, we have rotation, and then we have lateral flexion or side to side. Something people tend to forget is that, movement helps facilitate fluid in the body. It helps move fluids in and out of the body, blood, lymphatic fluid. It brings nutrients in to our tissues, and it also brings waste products out. So here you can see these are the arteries kind of the spinal column here. You can just see how much blood is being brought to these structures. Now, if you don't move, things get stagnant, right? If you think like of a river that stops moving, the water just sits there. And really, obviously the heart pumps blood, out, and hopefully that pressurized system brings blood back. But if someone that sits a while, you can start to see they'll have like fat ankles, this fluid starts to build up. That's why it's super imperative that we move, and then the lymphatic fluid needs to move also. So movement helps facilitate this. Now, something else we tend to forget is that the nerves coming off the spinal cord are in between the vertebrae. So we have these nerve roots coming out of all of the vertebrae. So you can kind of see all these holes here. And that's really important, right? So can you imagine if the left side of my spine was kind of laterally flexed and rotated here, that it might compress some of those nerves. So remember, the nerves are like a communication system. It's always reading the environment. It's bringing information into the spinal cord up to the brain, and then the brain and or the spinal cord is making decisions on how to adapt to the environment. So that's why I think it's imperative that there's good communication. If there's any tightness or, bones pressing on nerves in ways that they're not supposed to, this may result into some poor communication. Now, so you can see, the vertebrae cut in half here. You can see the nerves coming into the spinal cord. You can see, here's the aorta, here's some veins and some more arteries. But also look at, this is the muscles of the back. Look at how many, I think there's 4 layers. That's an insane amount of muscle, right? So we have infinite possibilities for the capability and the amount of movements we're able to do. So you can just see how many muscles are involved in movement from just the musculature of the back. Here's the deeper layers, and here's the, some more superficial layers. But I hope I've kind of convinced you that you should move your spine daily, and a good place to start is your age for reps. What that means is the older you get, the more you need to move. So move through the spine's full ranges of motion, flexion, extension, side to side or lateral flexion, and rotation, right? People tend to get hurt in these positions. It's because they never train these positions. The guy who goes to bend over to tie his shoes and pulls his back out, well, when's the last time he trained being down there? I had a client who fell recently and had trouble getting up. How often do you train getting up off the ground? How often do you train in the full ranges of motion or move through those full ranges of motion on a daily basis? So I think you should make a valid attempt, and it should be non-negotiable, is to move your spine daily for your age for reps, and then let me know how you feel after doing that for a couple weeks.